Hey everyone, I'm Lily. 10 years of Bangya, that's a Visual Kei fangirl, and today, I've got something special. Because this month, something happens that has never happened before. For the very first time, Europe is getting a festival built entirely around Visual Kei. Not one band on a side stage at a metal festival. Not a single tour date squeezed into a club. An entire 2-day festival in Paris dedicated to nothing but this genre. It's called the B7KLAN J-ROCK FEST. July 11th and 12th at the Arena Grand Paris. 10 Japanese bands, 2 European guests, and 20 years of history behind it. And if you're new here, if you've heard the words Visual Kei, but never really knew where to start, this is the perfect moment. Because the lineup of this one festival is basically a map of the entire genre. The founders, the legends, the new blood, all on one stage. So today, that's what we're doing. I'm going to walk you through what Visual Kei actually is, why this festival matters so much, and every single band playing it so that when the lights go down in Paris, you'll know exactly who you're looking at. Let's get into it. So first, what even is Visual Kei? Here's the mistake most people make. They hear Visual Kei and think it's a genre of music like metal or punk. It's not. Visual Kei isn't a sound, it's a philosophy. The name literally means visual style. And the core idea is this. The way a band looks is just as important as the way it sounds. The makeup, the costumes, the hair, the whole world the band builds around itself, that's not decoration. That's half the art. That's why you can't pin Visual Kei to one sound. One band might play symphonic power metal in Rococo costumes. Another plays bright, bouncy pop rock in neon colors. Another screams over crushing metalcore. Musically, they're worlds apart, but they're all Visual Kei because they all treat the visual world as inseparable from the music. Think of it like film. In a normal movie, the soundtrack follows the drama. In Visual Kei, it's the opposite. The band starts with the music, and then builds an entire visual universe around it. That quote actually comes from KAMIJO, the leader of Versailles, one of the bands we'll talk about today. The movement started in the 1980s. The band that gets credited with building it as we know it is ex-Japan, loud, theatrical, impossible to ignore. From there, it split into a whole family tree of styles. Let me make those branches real, because you'll see all of them this weekend. The gothic, aristocratic branch, the fans call it Tanbai Kei, the aesthete school. Think European history, Rococo ball gowns, Victorian elegance, Baroque drama. Classical and symphonic music woven into rock. The band that defined it was Malice Miser, and this weekend its bloodline is everywhere. Mona's Mois, and Versailles both descend directly from it. The heavy, stripped-down branch, often called Nagoya Kei, after the city it grew from. Darker, gloomier, less flashy. Black, tailored, punk-influenced. The music leans into Western punk, industrial, and extreme metal. Less glamour, more grit. And the bright branch oshare Kei, the fashionable school. This one exploded in the 2000s as the sunny opposite of all that darkness. Neon colors, Harajuku street fashion, cute accessories, bouncy pop punk. Friendly and playful where the older styles were brooding. And CAF and LMC both live here. One genre, 3 completely different emotional worlds. And that's not even all of them. There's a traditional Japanese style with kimono and kodo. There's the theatrical underground and Angura Kei, and more. But those 3 are the ones you most need in your pocket, walking into this festival. So why is this festival such a big deal? Here's the thing a lot of Western fans don't realize. Visual Kei has been coming overseas for years, individual bands, individual tour. But there has never been a festival in Europe built entirely around it. Not once. This is the first. It's put together by a company called B7KLAN, run by a promoter named Bertrand Torpedo, who's been bringing Japanese artists to Europe for 20 years. This festival is his 20-year anniversary. 2 decades of work, all leading to this one weekend. And the scale is unreal. 10 Japanese bands, 2 European guest acts, 2 days. And the lineup isn't random, it's curated like a statement. You've got the genre's founding legends sharing a bill with bands that formed just 2 years ago. You've got the aristocratic gothic side standing next to the bright pop side, standing next to the brutal heavy side. For a lot of these bands, this is a homecoming, a long time in the making. Some haven't played Europe in over a decade. Some have never officially played France at all. And they're all landing in the same place on the same weekend. That's why I say this festival is a map. If you want to understand Visual Kei, the whole thing, past and present, you honestly could not design a better starting point than this lineup. So let's go through it, day by day, band by band. Let's start with the heavy hitters, the headliners. And I'm going to start with day 2 because day 2 is, frankly, a history lesson. Topping the bill on July 12th, Mois. This is the band of Mana, and if you know anything about Gothic Visual Kei, you know that name. Mana came out of Malice Miser, one of the most influential bands the genre ever produced. He's the person who basically defined the elegant Gothic aristocrat aesthetic, who built a whole fashion empire around it. Mois is his project since 2002, darker, heavier, more symphonic. And here's the detail that matters. This is announced as Mana's first official performance in France, ever. Fans have waited decades for this. Right alongside him, Despair's Ray. Formed in 1999, they toured the world, Europe, America, even Wacken, one of the biggest metal festivals on Earth. Then in 2011, they vanished. Their singer's voice gave out and the band went silent for 15 years. And then, just last year, they came back. This Paris show is part of that comeback, their first time in France since 2010. Also on day 2, and CAF. Now we swing to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And CAF are one of the definitive oshare Kei bands, bright, cute, colorful, bouncy. They call their sound Harajuku dance rock. Back in 2008 and 2009, they toured the world and brought this sunny, playful side of Visual Kei to fans across a dozen countries. This is their first time back in France since 2008. And then, the heaviest name on the day, JILUKA. These are the modern warriors. They call their sound electro-gothic metal, brutal, precise, djent-influenced. They've been one of the most internationally active heavy bands in the whole scene, touring the US and Europe relentlessly. If Mana represents where Visual Kei came from, JILUKA represents where it's going right now. Rounding out day 2, Azavana. These are the newcomers formed in 2024 out of the remains of a band called Ashmaze. They're the youngest act on this day, and this is a huge stage for such a new band. Let me put the weight of day 2 in perspective. On this single night, you have the man who defined Gothic Visual Kei fashion, a band resurrected after 15 years of silence, one of oshare Kei's global ambassadors, the most internationally relentless heavy band in the scene right now, and a band that's barely 2 years old. That's 4 generations of the genre on one stage in one night. There is no textbook that teaches Visual Kei better than just standing in that room. Now let's go back to day 1, July 11th, which has its own incredible spread. Headlining, Versailles. Remember that KAMIGO quote from earlier? This is his band. Versailles is symphonic power metal dressed in full rococo, think French aristocracy, dueling twin guitars, heavy but soaringly melodic. They formed in 2007 and almost immediately looked outward, releasing their debut in Europe and Japan at the same time. They're one of the bands that proved Visual Kei could build a worldwide following fast. They carry the torch that Malice Miser lit, the elegant, aristocratic, absolute beauty side of the genre. Second headliner on day 1, MUCC. And these guys are chameleons. Formed in 1997, MUCC has spent nearly 30 years refusing to sit still. Heavy one album, electronic the next, folk and pop woven through. They've toured Europe, the Americas, Asia. They even opened for Guns N' Roses in Japan. This Paris show marks their first show in Europe in 11 years. For longtime fans, that's a massive deal. Also on day 1, LMC. This is a duo, Maya and Eiji, who came out of the worlds of Miyavi and Piro. They call their style New Century Electro Rock. Bright, punchy, electronic-tinged rock with a huge visual pop sensibility. They're the colorful, high-energy jolt on the first day, and then KIZU. If you want the raw, painful, beautiful end of modern Visual Kei, this is it. Formed in 2017 around a songwriter named Liemi, KIZU are known for haunting, fragile, white-faced performances that dive into pain and beauty. Their debut solo show, 1,300 tickets sold out in 1 second. This is announced as their first official show in France. And the 10th Japanese band, the closing slot was chosen by the fans themselves. B7KLAN ran a contest with a Visual Kei magazine, fans voted, and a winning band earned the final spot on the bill. By the time you're watching this, that band will be revealed, so keep an eye on the lineup. And look at the range on day 1 alone. Rococo symphonic metal from Versailles. 30 years of genre hopping from MUCC. Neon electro rock from LMC Raw, white-faced emotional catharsis from KIZU. And a band chosen by the fans themselves. In a single day, you travel across the entire emotional map of Visual Kei, from the most elegant to the most raw, without ever leaving the building. There's one more piece to this festival that I love, and it says a lot about how far Visual Kei has traveled. 2 of the acts aren't Japanese at all. They're European. On day 1, there's Sufer. On day 2, Imperial Age. These are European artists invited to share the stage with the Japanese legends, and that's not a small thing. Visual Kei started as something deeply, specifically Japanese. The fact that European bands have grown up inside this culture, influenced by it, good enough to stand on this bill, that's the whole story of this genre going global, right there in the lineup. That's what makes this festival more than just a concert. It's a full circle moment, a genre that was born in Tokyo in the 80s, that fought to be taken seriously, that crossed oceans one band at a time, now has its own festival on European soil, with European bands playing alongside the originators. Now, before we finish, let me tell you something they don't put on the poster, because if you actually go to a Visual Kei show, there's a whole culture waiting for you, and nobody warns you about it. Visual Kei live shows have their own unwritten rules. The fans, the bangya, have developed an entire language of movement over decades. There's fury, choreographed fan motions that everyone does in sync during certain songs. There's headbanging sections. There's the wave of the crowd parting and slamming back together. If you've never seen a coordinated Visual Kei crowd move as one body, it is genuinely breathtaking and a little intimidating your first time. Here's my advice if Paris is your first show. Don't panic about knowing the moves. Watch the regulars, follow their lead, and jump in when you feel it. Nobody expects a first-timer to know every fury. What matters is energy and respect. And respect is the key word. There's an etiquette to the front rows, an etiquette to how you treat other fans, an etiquette to the whole space. The scene runs on a kind of mutual care that outsiders never expect from something that looks this wild and dark. That contrast brutal music, elegant manners is honestly one of the most beautiful things about this world. The point is, this festival isn't just 12 bands playing songs. It's an entire culture landing in Europe, and you get to be part of it. So let's bring it home. If you've been standing on the outside of Visual Kei, wondering how to get in this festival is your map. On one weekend, in one arena in Paris, you get the founder of Gothic Visual Kei, a legendary band returning from 15 years of silence, the bright pop side, the crushing heavy side, the symphonic aristocrats, the shape-shifting veterans, and the brand new generation, plus European bands carrying the torch forward. That is the entire genre, standing on one stage. You don't have to love all of it. Nobody does. The beauty of Visual Kei is that it's not one sound, it's 100 different worlds, and somewhere in there is one that's going to grab you and not let go. Maybe it's the Rococo drama of Versailles. Maybe it's the raw ache of KIZU. Maybe it's the sheer force of JILUKA. Find your door and walk through it. The B7KLAN J-ROCK FEST is July 11th and 12th at the Arena Grand Paris. Whether you're going in person or watching the scene from across the world, now you know exactly what you're looking at. I'm Lily. Thanks for watching. If this helped, subscribe. There's a whole lot more Visual Kei where this came from. And I'll see you at the next one.